This is part 2 of the video. I will leave a link in the description to part 1. YouTube rejected the video since it was over 15 minutes. Please also check the description of this video for all of the updates and probably comments too. I'll probably just leave the comments on this video and no comments on the other video since it's just part 1. I went out to the range today to go ahead and re-zero the rifle. I didn't get to go last week like I wanted to. Everything went really well today as far as getting everything zeroed. I was able to get this zeroed and it stayed in there. Now the windage knob, I must have messed it up in the last video because it had to be adjusted the same amount. After I got it zeroed though and tested it at the range, everything was good after I got it zeroed. And then I went to set the zero stop. After I set the zero stop and came up on the elevation, this little piece came loose again. So I was still at the range, still had ammo, so I went ahead and zeroed it again, and I did not mess with the zero stop. I've just unscrewed it and I'm not messing with it at all. I'm going to have to contact U.S. Optics and see if I'm doing something wrong. I don't understand why every time I set the zero stop and then go up on the elevation, it comes undone. That's really a big problem. As far as the clarity and the scope, it was really good. This focus or parallax adjustment or whatever it is works really nice. The crosshairs are very coarse when you're looking at the targets with it on 10, so it's fine. It's easy to shoot. I was shooting about 1-inch groups. I used the Hornady 168 match to start off with, just to get it on paper, and then I used the Federal Premium 168 grain with the Sierra Match Kings. That worked. And I think it has the same bullet as the Hornady, but they both worked well, but the Federal worked better. It got a little bit better groups, more consistent. But anyway, so that's what I got to do. I got to call U.S. Optics and find out why the zero stop isn't working. So I guess I'll make another video after I hear back from them. Okay, I realized I haven't showed this failure of this piece in the video, or whatever it's doing, what I'm doing wrong, what it's doing wrong. So I figured I'd go ahead and screw up my zero and show you what's happening. So you unlock this, and I don't have the zero stop set right now, so it'll go down. Okay, so now we're back to my zero, and I'll go up. So that's 10 mils. Okay, that's as far up as it's going. So we'll go back down to my zero. Alright, so now it's back at 0. Now I'll go ahead and set the zero stop. Well, actually, what I need to do is put it, they say do it at 0.3 mils. So there it is, 0.3 mils. It's locked in place. And I'll go ahead and tighten it up. Okay, so now it's tight, and I'll back it off an 1/8 of a turn, and it should be set. That's how they say to set it. So now that I've set the zero stop, this won't move. It's very hard to move. So now it's up. So it stops right, it's stopping right at 0. So I probably need to back it off a bit. Okay, the dog started drinking water, so we cut the video and I'll see if I can cut that out or whatever. But basically, where it's set right now is it stops exactly on 0. So I'm gonna back it out a little more. Okay, now it comes down to about minus 0.3. Now I'm gonna go up. and now it's staying locked. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know why when I set it at the range or set it somewhere, it's completely inconsistent. Sometimes this comes loose, and now you put it on video and it stays locked. I have no idea what's going on. It's staying locked. It's going up 20 mils. So that's 10 mils. That's 20 mils, 21 mils about. That's the end of the scope, the end of the range for adjustment. And that's coming back down to 0. So it's set, I guess. That's it. After the last time I took the scope out, I got it zeroed and I tried to get it to come loose when I was going up on it. It wasn't coming loose anymore, so I went ahead and I took it out to the range today. And what I was going to do is just go ahead and test it out and see if it would go up for each of the mils and then come back down to 0 and see if it held 0 to begin with. And it did hold 0 to begin with. I had it a little messed up. I didn't have it on at the correct 0. For some reason I had it 10 mils up. But it worked fine. It still looks really nice through the scope. One problem I did have is that it's a little bit high. So when you're trying to rest your cheek on here, it's a little bit high, and I saw a stock that might help to correct that, where you can still pull back the charging handle. I'll put a link to that in the description, a link to that video that I saw, because that might be interesting. It might help out. I didn't do too well shooting, but here's my target. Let's see, I'll put it in front of here. So the first group was 1 1/8 inches, and that was at 1 mil up. And the second group was 1 1/2 inches. That was at 2 mils up. The third group was 1 1/4 inches. That was at 3 mils up. Group 4 was 1 9/16 inches. That was 1 mil up. So what I did is I did 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, and then 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, and then back to 0. So group number 5 was 2 1/4 inches. Definitely had a flinch on this shot. Probably would have been a better group if I didn't do that. And then group number 6 was 2 inches. And that one was definitely a flinch too. Then I went back down to the 0, took my time and really tried to get a good group, and I got a 1 1/8 inch group. And this is more what I think the gun is capable of here. You know, I'm not that good of a shooter, so I'm working on it, but I'm not there yet. But I know it's capable of less than an inch. I've done it before, and I'll get there again. I just need to get shooting. We had a hurricane, so there was a bit of a delay in getting this video finished. Overall, I think the scope is good. I don't have a lot of basis of comparison. I only have a couple of other scopes, but this one seems to be really good. I'm not exactly sure what was going on with this little thing unloosening, but now it seems to be working fine, so it might have been just something I was doing wrong. I never called U.S. Optics to ask them about it because it started working, so didn't bother them any. The scope looks clear to me. Like I said, I don't have anything to base it on, but I can see everything just fine in there, and seem to shoot a lot better if I focus on focus my eye on the reticle rather than the target. That's what seems to open up my groups, is if I'm looking at the target. But you can still see the target and the reticle clearly, but if you focus your eye on the reticle, it seems to do a little better. And the this piece, the zoom, it works really nice and easy. I was thinking about getting one of those deals to help you turn it easier, but you don't need it. You can just grab this and it turns really easy. It's got all these little notches in there, and it's got some texturing on there where you can get a good grip on it. The zero stop is working now, so when you go down, it stops at 0. You can go up and turn, come back down. You know when you're at your 0, and then you can lock it in. The illuminated reticle, kind of have to hold the button in a little bit for longer than you would think, so it doesn't react exactly right when you hit the button. I think you have to hold it for maybe at least half a second or so before it changes or turns on or off or whatever. So overall, I like it, but I don't really have a basis of comparison. The main thing that I don't like about the reticle is that the crosshairs they have running all the way through, up and down, and they get a bit coarse when you have it on 10 power, since it's a first focal plane scope. So the main deal with that is, if you're, and I haven't shot at long range yet, but just at short range, even 100 yards, the crosshairs take up a bit of the target, so it's harder to see exactly where you're aiming. I wish they would have had it either thinner in the middle, like just right where they come together, or just gone all together and just had a little square, something like that. But that's the only thing I really don't like that much about it, is the reticle. But they don't have a different choice right now. So overall, it seems to be all right, and it seems to work how they said it's going to work. And it goes back to 0. I don't have to worry about that. The only thing I have to worry about is this little knob on top that comes undone for some reason. I'm sure if you bang it on something or get it caught on some gear or whatever, it might loosen that up, and then you'll lose your 0, which could be a negative. I don't know. Anyway, that's it on the U.S. Optics B-10.